Okay. So, we're going to be very informal tonight. I'm always informal. And you're the only gentleman that I'm not sure I know who you are.
Sorry?
You. You.
I'm Sharma from Spain.
Oh, okay. All right, so we have 5?
No,
No. He's just here.
he's our visual and acoustical technician.
Oh, cool. My husband does that. He's the visual and acoustical technician. And he's filming all of this and recording it and so forth. So he'll be here for posterity. And it is so delightful to welcome you to our 3rd International Poetry event. And it's gotten to be, I was not sure I was going to make it to this one, but the more I looked at the flyer and I thought, oh, I have to. So here I am. My name is Chris Bryant. My husband is Peter Bryant. And I was the president of the Whittier Home for 8 years. And like I told 3 of you, 4 of you, this museum, this home is in my heart. And as long as I can still walk and stand and so forth, I will still be giving tours best to my ability, and because I love this place. And Peter said, no, nobody was upstairs, nobody lived upstairs, or somebody said nobody lives upstairs. And Whittier's ghost is in the house, as is Longfellow's. There's a picture of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow here, and I call him Hank, and I always come in and I look at the picture and I say, hey, Hank, and we have conversations, and I talk to Whittier, and sometimes he even answers me. So this is a sacred place to me. So anyhow, with no more ado, help yourself to snacks whenever you feel like it. Just try and tiptoe around and be quiet if somebody's reading. There is a restroom if you go straight through back there. And if you would silence your cell phones, that would be very nice so that we don't interrupt the readers. And Alexandra, I love your hair.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
So I would like to introduce the man, the poet extraordinaire, the Poet Laureate of Rockport, Mr. Bob Whelan. And Bob has written some of my favorite poetry in this world. And I always look forward to hearing anything that Bob writes. It's always very timely and heart-wrenching and happy and sad and everything all at once. So without further ado, I will let Bob introduce and run the show.
I try to run the show. Judy helps a lot.
She does.
My youngest daughter helps a lot. But it's really hard to run something this big when everything has to be coordinated. So like I said, I try to run the show. We have 4 poets here tonight. They're notable people, and it is, as I was looking to do introductions and looking at their bios and the number of awards and the number of places and the number of festivals and the number of books, it was overwhelming. I also gave you the bio of a different Hussein Habasch. Hussein is, in fact, a Kurdish poet. He'll be reading in Kurdish tonight. He is from Germany, and you've been to festivals in Morocco.
I don't know, a lot of festivals.
Okay, well, that's my point. So I kind of feel very strongly that the poetry speaks for itself. And so I'll have folks come up. I'll introduce first, we have YuYutsu Sharma, Alexandra Nicod, Hussein Habasch, and George Wallace. And because I've messed it up before, I'm just going to ask them to tell you a couple of small things that they think are the most important for them. And I'd like to start with Alexandra, if you would please. Alexandra Nicod.
Good evening. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much to Bob and Judy and Shannon for organizing this wonderful festival. I'm very happy to be here. I was born in Switzerland. I'm Swiss, and then I went to Spain. Now I'm living in Spain. I have been living in Spain for many years now. I have also the Spanish nationality. And I write in Spanish. And well, I'm an actress, a playwright, a poet, a translator, and I've published not so many books as Hussein, Habasch, YuYutsu and George Wallace, but quite some books. And I went to festivals, and now I'm also involved in a project, in a theater project in Madrid. I'm a playwright, as I said. I'm writing theater for the city of Madrid. And yes, and as an actress I've been performing in theater and movies in Spain and in Switzerland. And I will read you some poems, maybe just two. Yeah, and I hope you enjoy it. I will read them in English, so please excuse my accent and my, well, let's see. Origin. I left my body like someone leaving a burning house. My body was no longer a safe place, not anymore. And suddenly all the birds fell from the sky in mid-flight, the white ones and the black ones, the big ones and the small ones, those that fly high and those that glide low to the ground. The clouds fall, the sun hides, the moon does not appear. Cars stop, walkers petrify, the roofs of the houses collapse, and all of a sudden, all the girls burst into flames. The daughters and granddaughters, the sisters and nieces, the cousins and goddaughters. All the girls burning in their homes, their rooms, their beds. In every house, every village, every town, flames arise, one after another. Flames calling for help. And you hear them and you try to scream. But you are only girl, and girls on fire cannot scream. How can I explain to him that his eyes hypnotized me long before the first embrace just landed in faraway lands? That his beard transports me to the sea and his hands to the sky, and that in that first takeoff together, my body longed to feel his warmth, my head wanted to rest on his shoulder, and my chest desired to melt with his pain. How to explain to him that my heart was always next to his, and that when his body moved, my heart instantly followed him, and if there was a way, so did my own body and my whole being. How can I tell him that flying over the desert of deserts is not flying, but loving him? That stepping on the sacred sand, guided by his hand, is not strolling, but loving him? That stretching my arms towards the sun is not breathing, but loving him? And that during all those nights in the vast lands of wisdom, my Sahara was him, my referent was him, my lighthouse, him. How can I make him see that all the pastures of his rich country became my roots soon after listening to his stories, and that my homeland begins where he steps and ends where his gaze rests? That he is mountain and valley, earth and rock, sky and eagle at the same time. He is honor and love, and where he is, peace and justice reign. How is it that I never tire of hearing stories of his distant homeland? It must be because he is beautiful, because he is noble, because he has suffered and continues to suffer, and I recognize myself in his suffering. And although we love, we know and recognize each other's pain, and that is why we decide to make each other love continuously, because our laughter is the cry of the survivor made light. It is recognition of each other in a shared mutual respect. We are two castaways united at last for an intense moment in a sacred space and time. Now I understand what it is to be a goddess of the sun and to have at my side a god of the Medes mountains. We know each other from other lives. He embraced my sacred tree in the forest of Sneh, and I stepped barefoot on the fertile soil in his nirvan. How to whisper to him that his how became mine and made me see his beauty, his love, his weapon. How to express to him that ours is not a short story, but something that has existed since time immemorial. How to make him understand that since I have known him, my body breathes differently, deeper, more peaceful, cries differently, more serene and calm, eats and drinks differently, as if eating and drinking nourishes not only my being, but also our love and the love of all our ancestors and descendants. A whole double family tree nourished from our union, from every kiss, embrace, whispered word. I was a woman, and I was also a man, and so was he. So many lives celebrating love and life together, so many lives fleeing and seeking refuge in each other, so many lives seeing the suffering of the other and trying to alleviate with our hands, with our gaze, with our saliva, that pain that will never be foreign. I love him. I love to love him. I love to look at him, to listen to him, to break myself to pieces, to give him everything I own, my insides first. So, tell me, my love, how can I explain all this to you? Tell me, how? How is it possible that I love you more than daylight adores the night and forest cherishes the earth? How? My love, you say, there's nothing to explain. There are things that can't be explained. Come, just come.
Now I would like to welcome YuYutsu Sharma, who has the award for coming from the farthest place to get here. And he is so widely published, so admired and praised by many folks across the globe. I'd like you to please welcome YuYutsu Sharma.
Namaste, everybody. Namaste meaning I bow to you. I bow to the soul of God in you. So that's the greeting in the Himalayas that we have. As he said, coming from all the way from top of the world to the lowlands of Massachusetts is quite a journey. It's a pretty exciting journey. I know everything is sacred in the Himalayas. I was telling my friend Sylvia that, Everest is not a Nepali name. Everest is the name of this British guy who in the colonial times tried to prove if Everest is the highest mountain in the world. And they named mountain after him. Nepali name for Everest is Sagarmatha, meaning forehead of the sky, which is very poetic, as opposed to this British guy's name. British are good to us. They come and change everything and go. Nobody knows our names. Tibetan name for Everest is Chomolungma, meaning mother of the winds of the world, which again is very poetic. There's another name for the Himalayas. The name is Devatatma, meaning place where soul of the god lives. So a lot of religiosity. The first poem that I want to read is to introduce my world. Now, Judy and Bill drove us here, Bob drove us here from other town. In the Himalayas, you have to walk if you go in the mountains. There are some roads, but they are very dangerous. So and now they are trying to build roads and ropeways, but you have to walk. You are on foot. And there are mules who carry the load, and there are Sherpas, the famous climbers. So Nepal was closed for several centuries to the outside world. And it's only in the 60s when the hippies came and they opened up, and they brought the floodgates of modernity. Entire world came rushing to see the Shangri-La and all this lost horizon, all that exotic, imagery of Nepal came. So this poem about the porters who carry the load as the Western people come, and everybody wants to climb Everest. Once, twice, thrice, 10 times. Man without legs, man without oxygen, man without eyes. A whole thing is a whole mad rush to, the Western desire to possess, to conquer Everest as if it's a kind of beast, to slay it. In my part of the world, we worship it. The mountain is a goddess. So when you're going up to the top of the mountain, you say, Goddess, I'm coming in, I'm going to put my foot on your chest. It's like putting your foot on your mother's chest. It's very sacred. So this poem called Mules. On the great Tibetan soul truth, they meet me again, old forsaken friends. On their faces, fatigue of a drunken sleep. Their lives worn out, their legs twisted, shaking from carrying illustrious flags of bleeding ascents. age-long bells clinging to them like festering wounds, beating notes of a slavery that modernism brings, cartoons of iceberg, mineral water bottles, solar heaters, Chinese tiles, tin cans, carom boards, sacks of rice, and iodine sold from the plains of Nepal Tarai. Butterflies of the terrace fields know their names, singing brooks, tempests of their breathless climes. Traffic alert and time-tested, they climb, carrying dreams of posh peacocks, pamphlets of a secret religious war, filth of an ecologist trial seaman, entire kitchen for a cocktail party at the base camp, defunct development agendas of guilty donors, the West's weird visions lusting for an instant purge. Stone steps of the mountains embossed on their drugged brains like lines of aborted love scratched on the historic rocks of the water spouts. Starry skies of the dozing valleys know the ache of their secret sweat. Sunny days along the crystal rivers taste of their bleeding eyes. And the greatest fiction of their struggling lives lost like real mules, collecting their hooves in the flagstones, encircling the cruel grandeur of bloodthirsty mule paths around the glaciers of Annapurnas. Thank you. So Annapurna again is name of this goddess. Anna means food. Purna is one who fills your house with food. So it's Lord Shiva's wife. And mountains is the glaciers where they melt. They cultivate the entire landscape. So the food comes to us. So it's very symbolic that this woman, this goddess, is named as Annapurna, the one who fills. She was a mountain god. So, but it's not just the suffering and the poverty. A lot of I was in Alps, and they took me around and showed me. I was in this fellowship from Rockefeller, so I stayed in this nice villa. Like they treated me like a prince for a month, and then they said we wanted to show you Alps. I went there, there's nothing, it's just a nice manicured garden. Compared to the Himalayas, which is so wild, you can fall off a cliff, the animal can come, tiger can eat you, or it's like miles and miles of walking. It's so hard, the mountains are bloodthirsty, It's for romantic for Westerner people to come and go as tourists. Nepalese hate them. We don't like mountains because they are dangerous. The doctors are miles away. People die there without pill or like paracetamol. So, but then there's romance. The people struggling for their survival. People like folklore, legends, villages, mountain people, monasteries, Yak and Yeti. I have this one of the book on Yeti. So there's a lot of romance there. So this poem I want to read is a love poem. And in Sanskrit we have this theory of rasas. Each poem, each emotion will have a predominant emotion. Each performance has a predominant thing. So it could be hatred, it could be chivalry, it could be motherhood, it could be romance or horror or obscenity. There's each emotion which is predominant. This poem has love as predominant emotion. But it's interesting. It's not about my wife. It's about someone else's wife. So it's more interesting. So it's called River. Between your marble shoulders and my hairy chest, the river roaring, tears, tears, tears. Between your mellowing mouth and my centered tongue, a night of flames and flesh, flesh, flesh. Between your hefty thighs and my throbbing hands, clouds drunk from the forest of rhododendrons, rhododendrons, rhododendrons. Between your almond eyes and my warm mouth, rain dropping like pearls on the plump leaves of the jungle, jungle, jungle. Between your shimmering skin and my dark hair, grass greener than the greenest parakeet, growing yellowish from incessant rain, rain, rain. Between your nights by the impotent pillow of your husband and my crazed headpiece, a poem of spring that shall fill my deep wounds, sprouting flowers, flowers, flowers. Between you tulips and my fragrant pen, a brain fever bird's crazed cry, mad, mad, mad. between the sparkle of your teeth and my sleep, a rain coming like a roar of a starving stream, in the starless gloom of the night, between your melon breast and thrust of my soft lips, the rage of the river battering its head against the magic mountains, between your decisions and my flickering lamps, the river mad, you poet, you bastard, go away. So, I travel a lot, and I was telling Bob, I was giving him a chapter of my novel that I'm writing, a kind of autofiction, and my father was great admirer of these Naga sadhus. They have dreadlocks and they have ashen bodies. They put only loincloth and live in the caves like Celtic monks. And so the whole idea is to shun, to torture the body, because body is evil. It desires, it lusts, it wants. It desires. And then the whole idea, Buddhist idea, Om Mani Padme, that the beauty is that in this perishable body, which is like lotus, the jewel of the soul lives. So Lord Krishna says, when you're dying, don't worry, because soul is only changing clothes. Your body gets tattered, the clothes get old and tattered, so it changes and goes to another body. So don't worry much about that. So the whole idea of that paradox of Om Mani Padme, jewel in the lotus. So my father was so much in awe of them, he took me to one of these ashrams and said, Guru, I have two sons, this is the elder one, I want to donate him to you, please accept him as my gift. I'm a 7-year-old boy, I'm looking out, my mother is standing outside, she can't even come inside. And I'm saying, what's happening? I'm going to be donated to these holy people. And they are like dreadful people. For a small child, they look terrible. Because they have ashen bodies and they smoke hashish all the time. I said, my God, I'm going to serve them. I'm going to be here. I never go back to school. And then the guy looked at me, bloodshot eyes, and he smoked long puff. And he said, he coughed about 5 minutes. And then he said, he's a good boy, send him to school. If he hadn't said that, you have no idea what I will look like today, if I'll be alive by now. So this, and then that's how it came, and I started traveling. And they kind of taught me the whole idea of travels and, leaving the world at its own, So this poem I want to read, it has to do with my father. And also, it has to do with my mother, whom I loved so much. And but then she left me because, I always feel that never fear a thing in your life. The thing you fear always happens to you. So I loved my mother very much, and I was in awe of her. And I never left home. People think I'm a big traveler, I travel the world, but like 20 years ago, I was home all my life. And because I loved her, I thought she needs in case something happens and I'm away, then what will happen? So, and then she had a stroke. So I took her home and I took care of her, and doctor said it will take a few months for her to recover. So I said, all right, I take care. After 2 months, I thought my work is suffering. So why don't I go to Delhi and do some work and come back? So I took a night train, went to Delhi, stayed all day, worked, and came back. Again the night train. Early morning I reach around 4 o'clock and I see people standing outside my house. And she's no more. So I have this big guilt that probably she thought I deserted her and I left her. So I have this, I should have told, she was sleeping, my brothers were looking after her. So this poem has reference to both. So the very thing I feared that will happen to me happened. I thought, then I have been traveling relentlessly. I don't really care. Because no point in worrying about what will happen. But the more you fear, more stuff will happen to you. So poem is called At 40 You Die. It has all these holy people and everything. At 40 you die. At 40, 2 moons start throbbing like bright eyes of your own children. At 40, 2 people you dream of most frequently. 2 people who dreamt of you and your eyes all their lives. At 40, in the early dawn of your desperate decades, you start dreaming of your mother first. She comes limping like a wounded cockroach from the other world, to clasp your sweaty palms, to kiss your eyebrows, withering under the blind stare of a merciless sun, to complain of tulips that faded under the blind stare of a merciless sun. At 40, you dream of your father frequently, a Buddha or an exhausted God, a lion repentant for a lifetime, a familiar stranger who made you what you are and left you alone, bleeding on the mule paths of life. At 40, you see him everywhere, in the creases of your skin, in your puffed out eyelids, in your fluffy temples, where two crescent moons appear, silvery and savage, like ensuing life's itinerary. At 40, he lusts in the crazed fields of your blood vessels. He escorts you to the open spaces of his cherished riverbeds, pavilions of tantric priests, ashrams of ascetics before bonfires of annihilation. He guides you to the boglands of his fond memories, where his beloved women lived and left him one by one. At 40, your own woman's mouth starts smelling of deceit. A Bhairav's mask, a masculine leer along the canyons of her body. At 40, you start dreaming, questioning questions, and decide to die, like one dies in poetry or books or proverbs that proved false, that people above 40 should be shot dead. You resolve what you didn't all your life to reach out, to touch the rim of unheard horizons, elusive Shangri-Las from where no return to the exquisite valleys of life is possible. But your children's eyes start shining like burning stars along the moons of your secret lusts. At 40, you die to be born again and again in the theater of your children's eyes. So one more, two more. So I'll read two more. Traveling is very nice actually. In Asia we say, those who travel, travel. They get the jewels of life. Those who sleep, sleep away. So we have, Buddha, Krishna, Christ, all traveling, Lord Rama going. So traveling is very important in the sense that it gives you another dimension. But when you travel, sometimes you meet very terrible people.
I'm sorry.
I have nice people. We have lovely Judy and Bob. So also they were here. So when I was in Amsterdam, and they invited me to a reading like this, and I was supposed to read, and so there was a nice gathering of 35 to 40 people, and then they had food like today. They said to go have some food. So she insisted. So I was hungry. I was traveling around, seeing these, Amsterdam Canal and going around all these areas. And I was hungry, so I ate all the food. And I took tea, coffee, and I ate there were cake. I said, we have space cake for you. I said, yeah, why not? I took, and then after a while, I started shaking. And I asked, what's going on? I'm not feeling well. He said, come on, you man from Kathmandu, don't you know? You have taken space cake. I said, what is space cake? He said, it's hashish cake. I said, what? I took 5 pieces. And they said, you won't die, don't worry. I said, what? I'm dying? They said, oh, you will come back. Lie down, relax, do yoga. I said, oh my God, I'm never going to see the faces of my children. What's going on? And so this poem, so this is like a near-death experience. And so you have to be. Today she had 3 times only. Then I went out to have some cakes.
None of it is space cake.
No space cake. Thank you. No, I knew it's no. But they think I'm from Kathmandu, and Dutch are very brave people. They're hero country. They are the first to do everything, anything that happens in Europe, like gay marriage or all that. So they are like heroes. And so they're brave. They gave me this stuff. Space cake Amsterdam. Don't panic, they said. Remain cool like your Krishna. Meditate maybe like Buddha, uttering Om Mani Padme, jewel in the lotus. Or lie down and relax like Vishnu on the python bed, to float on the buoyant on the invisible thread of your breath in slow motion. Millions of cats prowled around me. Smoke from shared sex and hashish joints stung my eyes. Unsettling tongue of an oakwood fire fed my stomach. I squinted queasily towards a formidable edge, an unknown ominous frontiers of human life. They laughed a secret laugh behind my back. Isn't it crazy this man from Kathmandu should get stoned from a piece of space cake in Amsterdam? Don't be serious, laugh. Celebrate the flame of life. Hold my hand. Don't be serious. Don't hold my hand. I can imagine you are alone on this trail. I've been there once, she whispered. Her tongue curled like a dry leaf in my ear and crackled. How much did you take? Just a bit? I took 38 grams once. It can be crazy if you don't know it's coming. Just don't worry too much. Don't lose your control over things. You can kiss me if you like. You can pat my belly, tickle my breast for a while if it comforts you. Sometimes it can be heavenly, this licking the rim of forbidden frontiers of human life. That's what he wants. That's exactly what he's looking for. A voice leered far off. But I have to go ultimately, she said. I'm a man waiting at home for me. Maybe read a poem of yours, someone said. My heart raced wild. And I heard some girls gossip in the next room. What if we get sick in Europe? Don't we get sick in Asia? Just take it easy. Another voice echoed. You won't go psychotic. Remember one thing. Whatever happens, you can always make a comeback. Faces of my dear ones veered past my eyes. I felt delicate thread of my life slipping through my fingers. Hey man, it's fine. Don't worry too much. My host shouted. Drink lots of water. Take black tea or coffee, a guest suggested. Or take lots of orange juice. Or maybe sing your favorite song, a woman said. Or recite one of your Hindu mantras. Or maybe stick your finger in your throat. Another voice came sheepishly. And throw up. You probably haven't digested everything yet. Questions came like wind slaps. Can you tell me what they call boredom in your mother tongue? Do you remember your email account and password? Discuss your children if you have any. Shall I bring my little daughter before you? Maybe you feel better seeing her brilliant eyes. I imagined a child's face and clung to it, like a penitent would hold on to a sacred cow's tail in his afterlife and slept on it all through the river of blood. Hours passed by, and then I heard someone say, what if he had freaked out? What if death had stalked our house tonight? Hearing these words, I woke up, knowing I had come back, stepped on the familiar shores of life, where death is feared, a distant, distrustful thing. My drowse burst like a glacier that cracks from rumble of a seed of fire that explodes somewhere in earth's deep sleep.
Hey.
Are you going more? So, I travel a lot in Europe. I was talking to my friends from Germany and Switzerland. But, no matter how long you live in Europe or India or Nepal, you'll never be Nepalese or Indian or, Spanish or German or never French, But you come to New York City, next day you're a New Yorker. They don't really care, it's like you share the bread of humanity, right? All the boroughs and subway. I felt so different. I've came to I said, my God, this is the place for me. So I've been coming ever since. Of course, I've come to teach at Columbia and New York University, but then I have been I love it place. So I wrote this book called A Blizzard in My Bones, in the New York poems. And so I think humanity ever evolved in spite of all what is happening currently. I think it will look like New York City if humanity ever evolves. And so this poem is about how you become a New Yorker. Yes. But I want to wish to thank this and my friend here and all the great Whittier poet and the ghost of Longfellow. I want to salute them and pay my home namaste, my heartfelt greetings to them and to all of you who came. And hopefully you come to Kathmandu because we do a festival in September next year. So you're welcome to come and join in Kathmandu and go see the Himalayan Yeti or go with the Sherpas and go up the mountains. And my open invitation to all of you. Our poem is called You Are a New Yorker. That you learn to notice sparkles of sullen silence snapping the darkness of dam burrows, or stop taking notes of wild blizzards racing along the signature shore. You are a New Yorker. That you start hearing Gaga songs in the screeching subway cars and stop saying I don't know no Spanish to Latino visitors seeking directions. You are a New Yorker. That you start understanding the thick jumble of subway announcements or roadside pronouncements. You don't have to be a Rockefeller to be a generous guy. You are a New Yorker. That you stop taking Free Staten Island ferry to click a perfect shot of Statue of Liberty, or stop visiting Times Square at night and forget to find a way out of his labyrinth. Or learn to walk the Brooklyn Bridge without a secret desire to dangle a padlock on one of its rafters. Or stop visiting Walt Whitman. Or stop seeing Walt Whitman sitting atop his edge, looking for his beautiful boys and vagabond fairies entering the sheltered bay. You are a New Yorker. That you stop feeding spy dogs at Grand Central, or recognize the homeless that hang out at Port Authority or Jackson Heights. That you pass through the shrunken midnight of Sutphin Boulevard or Jamaica subway station without holding your breath in terror. You are a New Yorker. That you start loving Starbucks coffee, wafting along wide glassy Manhattan malls, or learn to chew the Brooklyn bagel, or lap up the steaming loneliness of chatty dog walkers around Central Park, or learn to make love and forget the face of your partner. You are a New Yorker. That you stop guessing original blonde teenager reading the current issue of the New Yorker, or stop looking at the bare shoulders of the Vietnamese girl on free Wi-Fi table near the entrance of So Nice Village Cafe, opening and closing like a red lips on the first day of winter snow. Then you pass by Magnolia Bakery, loaded from famed cupcakes and moon-sized cookies. Then you stop visiting White Horse Tavern to pose against Dylan Thomas's drunken portrait, or stop hearing John Lennon's voice climbing the fire escape ladders of Hotel Chelsea, or stop looking for the room where she gave Leonard Cohen a blowjob. You are a New Yorker. That you stop walking at gay couples on L train, romancing like Bollywood couples, or fervently discussing pussy power, animal rights, or the ailing pets or parents. That you stop staring at the Hasidic Jews of Williamsburg, their curls dangling out of the black velvet caps like Lord Shiva's sacred serpents. You are a New Yorker. That you learn to laugh like a Latino bartender, or smile like a Filipino waitress standing beside a stuffed rose pig like a queen, or stop looking at the cleavage of the nudist poet at Central Park, or learn to check your seat in the subway for a stain of shit a homeless might have left for you. You are a New Yorker. And finally, the day the girl from Cleveland, Ohio, behind the counter of Greenwich Cafe, gives you her email, offers a free top-up on your coffee, or lets you take her out. You are a New Yorker.
I'm a Bostonian.
You have to write a poem.
Right.
Get going on that.
I'd like to invite now Hussein Habasch. When we have our international readings on Zoom, we always let someone read in their mother tongue first, because when you hear that, you hear the meter and the song in the poem. So Hussein is going to give you his poem in Kurdish, and I might say, I had a Japanese mentor who always used a translator. And he came to the United States at one point seeking medical advice, and he had pancreatic cancer. It was going to be very fast. And we thought, oh, what should we do? How can we do this? He went back. I heard when he went back, he had to be carried from the plane. I called his daughter, who was there. He was there with his daughter. I asked how he was. She said he's been asleep. And then in the background, you can hear him, and he comes on the phone. And he says, "Hi, Bob." And I said, "Hello, Sensei, how are you doing?" He said, "Doesn't matter, it's fine, there's absolutely no pain." So in this instant, he's thinking about me. But why I'm mentioning it now is he spoke perfect English. He had spent a long time in England, but in order to make sure that he didn't have some sort of fumble, he always pretended like he didn't really know English. Okay? And so now I want to introduce Hussein Habasch, who's going to make me read the English version.
everybody. I am Hussein Habasch. I came from Kurdistan. The country is occupied by 4 countries: Iraq, Iran, Syria, Turkey. Yeah. Now my city named Afrin is occupied by Turkish army and the Islamic radical group, Syrian. These groups they occupied the city. Where is my parents live? Yeah, I will read 2 poems maybe. نغمه منه گوچاوا الکدری بمرم سری خوا داتینم سر کبرش بیرکرنه استرانک غمگین و سادسترم نغمه منه و از هجار یانجی هجارتج هجار جیهانه بمرم زاروکن من نها سی و هناران دخان جبو من او یا هری گرینگه نغمه منه و از بمرم و جنوبا جمرن هشیار ببم و بتنها خواه لپی داربست خواه بچم زاروکن من بشاهی و بختواری وقت دو اوین داران به هفرا دو پیون جبو من اویا هری گرینگه سرگون بولس دنا خوشخانه که دا لبرلین مر وکه فرشته کی سرخوش دخواست گو ده هناسه یا مرنه دا به تنا خواه خالبا بکه مر کمال سبتی لهولنده دمالا خوادا لسر دیوانه وکه میره کش بیرکری مر عقیل علی لسر پیارکه که وگو او زانایه پیارکه به مر محمود البریکان بکیرا کوجرکی هاتا کشتن وکو او برجا رونیدان که به او چتین دریای نیشانی بریکا خوایا والا جپرایم بکه ایجار چه غما منه و از لمیخانه که یان لسر سماخانه که یا جیل مجیل خانه که اون یان جیل سر سینگا کنده که گیج لکنده خانه که دا بمرم زاروکین من پتاتاین قوراندی دخان بمیانیزی دخان جبو من اویا هری گرینگه نخما منه و از بن آوی شوتی هراندی هرکری سرجیکری یانجی خاکشتی بگازه و خوشکا من سیلویا پلاز بمرم نخما منه و از دروجا روجبونا خوادا وک برای خواه دلشاد میروانی هلبستوان کردستان یه گرینگ و بها بدار وکم بمرم نخما منه و از وک جیوی گیان خواه هیجا اتیل یوجف برچی زنداکری یانجی بچرخا ترینک دین بمرم نغما منه و از بکیرک بیبخت یانجی بخاردنا گلمک جحر وک آب خواه سکراتیس بمرم نغما منه و او مرن لاتینا برلین بیروت لندن شام مدرید یانجی بواشنطن بیبخت و پایتخت همو وک هون و مرنجی وک کچککی لحر داره دگره هر دو زاروکین من ادگوکی وک گوککی دگندرینن و او وسا دلال و شیرین خیادکن جبو من او یا هری گرینگه نغما منه و از دین ببم و گوتنین بی نرخ بکم یانجی وک حوال خواستیوران جبی خوی دشوان دا بگرم و نروین خواه دناو دستین سرما و تبلوی دا بهلم هر دو زاروکین من دخوی دا تبشیرن هر دو زاروکین من دخونه دبشیرن و بلکی جی خونان بچویک و پرپریکان دبینن جبو من ابیا هری گرینگه نغما منه و از بمرم یانجی صاب مینم ابیا کال با من وەک هەڤە ماگەل و مرن نەڕەوە گیانە و هەروەها من گیانی خوا di daristana ji bîrkirên dawenda kiriye wê demê çi xema min e, çi xema min e, çi xema min e, bi rastî çi xema min e.
This is intense. I hope I make it through it. I don't care how or where I die. I rest my head on the rock of the oblivion. Like a chorus, I echo the saddest song as follows. I don't care if I die poor or poorer than the poorest people of the world. My 2 children are eating apples and chewing on pomegranate seeds. This is most important. I don't care if I die. Then I will wake up walking alone in my funeral. I don't care if I never wake up. My 2 children are whispering to each other with joy and happiness as if they were 2 lovers. This is most important. Sargon Bulis had passed away in Berlin alone, as he was always alone, reeled into the brink of death as if he was a drunken angel. He was sick, a forgotten prince. Kamal Sabti died in a sofa in his home in Holland. A.G. Ali had passed away on a sidewalk, as if he was formed to be the crown of all the homeless. Mahmoud al-Brakan was killed with the knife of a thief. He was a lighthouse guiding the pirates to his penniless pockets. Then why should I care if I die in a bar, a ballroom, cabaret, or in the arms of a whore in a brothel? My 2 children are eating French fries with mayonnaise. This is most important. I don't care if I die by drowning, burning, strangulation, slaughter, or by committing suicide with carbon monoxide like my sister Sylvia Plath. I don't care if I am put to death on my birthday like my brother Dilshad Merawani, the strange angel of Kurdistan. I don't care if I die hungry, imprisoned under the wheels of a reckless train, like my spiritual twin, Attila Yosef. I don't care if I am murdered in the hands of a mob, like Lorca, or hanged like Hassan Mutlaq, Dabada of Baghdad. More importantly, my 2 children are okay, and I write simple farewell love poems, inspired by the flirtation of the waitresses and the beautiful young girls pressing in front of the cafe. My 2 children are playing. My daughter is combing her Barbie's hair, and my son is riding his tiny motorbike. This is most important. I don't care if I'm stabbed with a treacherous knife or given a dose of venom like my uncle Socrates. I don't care if my death occurs in Athens, Berlin, Beirut, Damascus, London, Madrid, or beautiful Washington. Cities are similar. Death is a wandering dog, prowling along the skylines. My children are rowing a ball-like planet, and they seem fascinated by it. This is most important. I don't care if I die homeless in exile, achy, sad, or drunk, or stabbed by a friend's tusks like most poets. It is important that in this moment I'm listening to Maria Callas. Deep down, my inner self is soaked in her melodious voice, and my 2 children are sleeping innocently It's amazing. This is most important. I don't care if I stutter with a drool or sail through the madness swirl like my companion Sioran, roaming the night due to insomnia, putting my fate in the hands of coldness and delirium. My 2 children are smiling in their sleep, dreaming, perhaps about birds or butterflies. This is most important. I don't care if I live or die. It makes no difference. Death is the departure of the soul. I lost my soul a long time ago in the forests of the oblivion. Who should I care? Why should I care now? I don't care.
قلك جدلي جياني را دين بينا ما أو أموينيان شي بكن دين بينا ما وأم بنفسينن دين بينا ما أو كو أم حروج قلكي دياري دلي جياني بكن دين بينا ما سرناك دياري دين بينا وان أو كو شر بكن دين بينا وان أو كو كشتني بكن دين بينا وان أو كو حروج قليكي بردن دلي جياني دين بينا وان وي بسركبه یاری امی بشکن از ویکی باش دزانم اوی بسرکبن تو ویکی باش دزانه یاری لی دیساجی امی وی نیان چی بکن بنفسینن و حروج گلکی دلی دیاری دلی جیانی بکن. Thank you very much.
This is a wonderful pairing. A rose for the heart of life. Our madness to draw, our madness to write, our madness to leave every day a rose for the heart of life. Our madness won't win, my love. Their madness to fight, their madness to kill, their madness to aim every day a bullet to the heart of life. Their madness will win, my love. We will be defeated, my love. I know that. They will conquer, my love. You know that. But regardless, we will draw, write, and leave every day a rose for the heart of life. Now it is my pleasure to honor us with his presence. George Wallace is the poet in residence at the Walt Whitman birthplace. He is from New York, and you'll have to verify if that was an accurate description. But at any rate, please come up and share some of your work.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Chris and Peter, for doing such a good job of keeping this place up, for hosting us today as fellow poets from around the world, including Gloucester and Nepal, and New York City, and Switzerland, and Kurdish Berlin,
Long Island.
and Long Island. Why am I part of the International Poetry Reading? Here's a very simple reason. Because it would otherwise be ethnocentric to say there's our poetry and then there's international poetry. As Americans, we're part of the poetry of the world. Just as up the street from here in Amesbury, the Friends Meeting Hall has a sign outside that says, "Love knows no borders. Love knows no borders. Poetry knows no borders." Borders are things that cross humanity. They're artificial. There's only one humanity. And so to be international is to come from some particular nation or to have shared experience of some other nation. But not to be a nationalist, not to be a nationalist poet. So this is not intra-nationalism going on here. This is internationalism and sharing. So I'm happy to join my colleagues here, all of whom I've met and associated with over the years. For YuYutsu's case, many, many years. I don't think he brought any tigers with him from Nepal. So we're safe in New York from tigers. I was a hippie, and I was in Nepal in the 60s.
We did publish his book on...
Right, and you're welcome in New York anyway. Even if you guys dissed hippies from the 60s. You're enjoying New York, I know. As I enjoyed trekking the Himalayas, foothills. This is a very important thing for me to be here today. And here's why. This is a Quaker house. It's a Quaker house. This man was a premier proponent of abolition. He wrote anti-slavery poetry as a Quaker poet. You may not all know this, some of you may. Peter, Chris, I'm sure you know this story. But this is something which is dear and close to my heart, first of all, because Whitman's mother was from a Quaker family. And Long Island has a long Quaker history. The Hicksites came from there. But more importantly, the Flushing Remonstrance, which was the separation of church and state, was initiated by Quakers in Flushing. So a lot of history there is important to us locally and what the Quakers contributed. But more than that, the Quaker idea of the inner light and the universality of the human spirit is something that's probably the most important thread in the fabric of early American culture that has enabled us not to be selfish, not to be xenophobic, not to push our point of view on other people. That universal thread. We all have this inner light. All of us. It's universal. This is a Quaker concept. And in early American history, when the Puritans came, who wanted to have their own, they wanted to be boss of Boston, right? They didn't want to have a pluralistic, open society. They wanted to be bosses of Boston, the Puritans. This was a counterweight. These people that were proponents of Quakerism were a counterweight to the totalitarianism of early Puritanism. And in New York, with its mercantile tradition, it's a Dutch tradition. So anybody's got a buck and can make a buck and can earn a buck and maybe share it or not share it. That's a mercantile kind of freedom, which is also an important thread in American history. But you see how that can lead to greed, selfishness, the wrong people in the White House today. The Quaker thread is the one thread from the 1600s, certainly through the 1820s and 1840s, that saved America from itself. So being here today, under this roof, in Amesbury, where Whittier lived and worked and worshipped in the Quaker fashion, just up the street, as I said, is especially important to me. I've visited Quaker sites around the world where the all got started in on Morecambe Bay at what's it called, Strathmore, Dartmoor, Sharma. The name of the Swarthmore Hall.
Yeah.
When George Fox first crossed the wetlands of that moor and came and rode up to Margaret Fell's house and asked for lodging so he could proselytize Quakerism in England, and when they were persecuted badly in England. I've been there to those locations and other locations around the world. So this is one of them, and I didn't even think about it. You know, I was like, Whittier, I don't know, boy stood on a burning bush, a burning deck, is it Hiawatha? I don't know nothing about this guy, but I know about, now I know the very, very critically important work he did as an advocate for anti-slavery in America in the 1840s. So, thank you for allowing us to read here. I got room for, I think, 3 poems. I'll go watch. Being from the Whitman birthplace and representing the Whitman birthplace, I'll read you a distillation of a typically multi-page poem by Whitman, because it'd take 40 minutes to read it otherwise. This is the idea that we're talking about saluting the world and the people in it. I boiled it down to 1 page. You know, this really boiled down just to the bones of what's in it. But this is called Salute au Monde. And these are the words of Walt Whitman. What do you see, Walt Whitman? He's talking to himself. I see all the menials of the earth out laboring. I see the prisoners in the prisons. I see the defective human bodies of the earth, the blind, the deaf, the dumb, idiots, hunchbacks, lunatics, pirates, thieves, betrayers, murderers, slave makers of the earth, the helpless infants, and the helpless old men and women. I see male and female everywhere. I see the serene brotherhood of philosophers. I see ranks, colors, barbarism, civilizations. I go among them. I mix indiscriminately, and I salute all the inhabitants of the earth. You, whoever you are, all you continentals of Asia, Africa, Europe, Australia, indifferent of place, all of you on the numberless islands of the archipelagos of the sea, and you of centuries hence, when you listen to me, and you, each and every one, everywhere, whom I specify not, but include just the same, health to you, good will to you, from me and America sent. Each of us inevitable. Each of us limitless. Each of us with his or her right upon the earth. Each of us allowed the eternal purports of the earth. Each of us here as divinely as any is here. Toward you all, in America's name, I raise high the perpendicular hand. If you've been on 2nd Avenue at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, you see the garbage men taking garbage out of New York City, rolling up the road. I want to go where the garbage men go. I want to ride where the garbage men ride. It's Friday night, it's 8 p.m. I want to go where the garbage men go, when they gear up, when they get in motion. The garbage men. Cruising the city like a shooting star, like a desert consuming itself. And they ache for garbage, from their biceps to their toes. Like Columbus ached for America, like kids ache for the good humor man. Like a robber emptying a cash register at a 7-Eleven aches for cash. in t-shirts and stained jeans with their jaws stuck out like Ethel and Fred Mertz with their hearts like steel plates and their va-va-voom, the garbage men do not mind, they do not care. It's hot, it's cool, what's the difference? It's all work to them, and they love to work. With their leather gloves on their leather hands when they are high above the crowd and the stench of it all, and it's good damn money besides it's good damn money. Who's going to tell them different? They're tall, they're muscular. Who's going to tell them? They have good teeth, they have hair like Greek gods. And their language is perfect. Their muscles shiver like primitive seas. Their bones shake like javelins. And the blood of centuries dries on their hands. They are as big as beer barrels. And they love to talk like pirates of the Aegean. And wrestle with each other like animals on the ground. They are jackhammers in Mamaroneck. They are tugboats on the Sound, from Brooklyn to the Bronx, from trash can to sea to shining sea. I want to roll along the rain-spattered roadway. I'm perfectly serious about this. I want to go where the garbage men go. They're calm, they're professional, they're loud as fist striking against solid steel. They're polite to the mayor. If they whistle to pretty mamacitas, it's only for show. It doesn't really mean anything. And they brush flies away from their faces. Nothing bothers them. Nothing bothers them. Nothing at all. Not traffic lights, not fender benders, not bosses, not banana skins, not razor blades, not $20 bills, not a box of taco shells. Not the daily news, and when the wind picks up, they shout back at the wind, and the wind gets the hell out of their way. And they wave to the driver, the truck takes off, and traffic parts for them, like mountains part for Colorado mountain men. And they ride away. And where do they go? With all that garbage. They go to a landfill. They go to a loading dock. They go to trailer parks. They go to Windy Gap. They go to the incinerator. They go to Staten Island. They go to the ocean floor. They go home to their wives and mothers, their sons and daughters, to their apartments and neat little bungalows in the neat little suburbs. They climb out of their trucks and they pull off their clothes. They climb into their beds and pull their wives to them, and they make love to their wives properly. And when they go to sleep, if they dream at all, it's no big thing. No big thing. After a while, they stop dreaming, and they're dead to the world, and their sleep is dark and perfect, as night is dark and perfect. And they are the lords of everything they survey. You have time for one more?
No, please.
I don't want to take too much time. All right, so this is for Emma Goldman. You've probably seen the meme, Emma Goldman. She says, you know, if I can't dance, it's not my revolution. Right? If I can't dance, it's not my revolution, that's what Emma Goldman said. I got thinking about that. I can't dance. But I remember when I was a kid, they used to say, dance like nobody's watching, right? And I was like, oh, I said there's a revolution, so I should dance like nobody's watching. But you know what? I want to dance like everybody's watching. So maybe I'm going to write, so I wrote this poem, Dance Like Everybody's Watching. It's for Emma Goldman. Okay, I got the whole poem. I don't always. Suffer in the wind, cry in the shade, shudder with the lonesome, howl defiant as wolves. Dance like the whole world's watching. Though the fascist tanks are rolling, though the breath of the wounded is at your neck, though the government of the meek is crumbling, and the merchants of fear hold sway. Dance in your shoes, dance in your cars, dance at your spinning wheels. If we can't dance, it's not our revolution. If we can't sing our barbaric yawp, there's no song. Dance like horseshoe crabs in old Walt Whitman's beard. Dance like William Blake, angel-headed at the baptismal font. Dance like a bluesman holding court in unyielding cotton fields. Dance for the children of a failed God, for the postman, for the barber, for the thief. Dance for the orphans scraping at your door, and tin pan gods and false leaders who deceive us and deceive us and deceive us. Dance for naked prophets raked in by the millions from the mouths of the poor. Dance for the beggar at the corner. Dance for the free man held captive at the illegal border. And the clowns and idiots and pretty women and men in their empty-hearted limousines. An idiot child firing off rands on the adolescent playground. Some folks say we should dance like no one's looking. I say dance like the whole world's watching. Dance for lovers and losers at both ends of the leash. Dance for the freely addicted. Dance like your life hangs in the balance, because it does. Dance like there's no tomorrow for the lost and unaccounted for the unknown astronaut who left us here, for the rebel at the hangman's noose, and the poor man with his many reckless adventures. Dance for the revolutionary subdued by tyrants. Dance for the rich man in his chains of ambition. Dance until the music disappears for the heartbroken, for the medicated, for the put upon, for the fooled, for the self-doubters, for the straight-laced, for the street vendor, the town crier, the boy who cried wolf. Dance for the elevator operator and the street sweeper, for the unemployed, for the invisible and falsely accused. For the anonymous helmsman whose hand is timid at the till, and the secret wanderer asleep in his cloud of discontent. Dance, poets, dance. For the underestimated, for the overwhelmed, for the uneducated, the surrounded, the weaver of impossible dreams. There are hearts yet out there to be kindled in the cold, dark night that surrounds us. There are souls of 10,000 nations yet to be liberated from their nests of shame. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you.
You too, you want a poem of you?
Yes, Bob.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Yes.
Why spoil it?
Why leave it unfinished? We're not leaving until. You spoil it. We're holding you hostage.
Okay, don't blame me for the consequences. I'm thinking about what folks read and seeing if I hate when people get up to the mic and do this, by the way.
We're putting you on the spot.
Okay, I'll do one called Etymology. It seems like on one day in spring, overnight, while peepers are singing and mating, buds emerge. Then shortly after, over another night, buds spread into a canopy of leaves, shading tadpoles and vernal pools. The refinished table by my window in my upstairs room can't do anything like that. I mean, if you cut a piece of it and examine it under a scanning, tunneling electron microscope, you can see atoms. If you cut a piece of a tree, you see the same atoms, but these bud in the spring. What leaves a tree when it becomes a table? I've been thinking about this for some time, but I'd rather think less and feel more. Thinking is more like a doing, an armor that shields one from experience. Feeling is being a vulnerable immediacy, unfolding like a growing leaf, catching light and air. The philosopher Democritus introduced the idea of the atom. Its etymology derives from the Greek word attending, which means not cut. 3,000 years later, Bining and Rohr received a Nobel Prize for seeing them. Such is the velocity of thought. Millennia have passed, and we're still thinking about the same thing. I'd rather experience the indivisible energy that causes a tree to bloom and allows us to feel now. Thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take away from the brilliance that you've had so far. You guys were great, astounding. I'm glad we have it for posterity. I really want to thank Chris and Peter for making this possible and keeping this place great. So, good night. And what I also want to say is you can take some of this with you because we have a library of YuYutsu's poetry books. Browse through it, get something. Okay? Good night.
Thank you.